Support for this video comes from Manscaped, our go-to for men's grooming tools. Manscaped is known for their Perfect Package 3.0. For all your below-the-waist grooming needs, but they didn't stop there. Their new refined cologne, signature scent by Manscaped, just launched with the same amazing scent in all Manscaped formulas. This cologne is a perfect complement to the collection. Light, approachable, gentlemanly in all the right ways. Think of it as your wingman on the night to keep you fresh and ready for anything. Smell great anytime, anywhere. Also, be sure to check out the Perfect Package 3.0 with all the essentials for below-the-waist grooming needs, including the Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer and crop formulations. Go to manscaped.com/Chael for 20% off with free shipping. That's 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com/Chael. Guys, I just talked with Ariel Helwani just moments ago. It's on ESPN YouTube page. Check it out if you'd like. But Ariel made the following comment as it had to do with Max and Kattar. And Ariel said that's the fight of the year, of which I instantly pushed back. And I said, partner, you are overselling this. It was a very good fight. It was the performance by Max Holloway. This was not a tit-for-tat back-and-forth battle. This was a beating. Now, none of that is an insult to Kattar, just the opposite complete compliment. Kattar is now on everybody's radar. Oh, by the way, I should complete the story with Ariel. He then came back and goes, hey, Chael, it was the first fight card of the year. Of course it's fight of the year. Okay, fine. He won. He won in the technicality, the technical side of it. I'm speaking more over to the story that's coming out of this about what a great fight that was, and that replaces Bonner versus Griffin. Not true. One thing that Bonner and Griffin had is we didn't know who won the fight. That went down to the judges and everybody that's in a living room. They're sitting there arguing with their friends on who's going to get their hand raised. This was very one-sided to the point that the announcers were calling for the referee to stop the contest. Again, these are compliments to Kattar, believe it or not. What an athlete is always going to do is he is going to be outcome-based. Now, the great athletes are performance-driven, not outcome. But all athletes will default to looking at how they did and then deciding everything is fine, or I need to change teams, I need to change camps, and I need to be depressed for 5 weeks before I do any of that because of the outcome. That's very relevant because if you're Kattar, when you go sit down with your team and you review this tape, there was simply nothing that he did wrong. There is nothing that he needs to work on and or fix. As a matter of fact, he showed his cardio yet again. As a matter of fact, he showed his grit yet again. As a matter of fact, there was one takedown attempt by Max and Kattar stopped it in its tracks, didn't go anywhere. Kattar fought as well as Kattar can fight. He was fighting a better fighter. And I bring that to you because why that is going to be hard to swallow. There is major compliments here to Kattar, his team, and his preparation. He fought a better fighter. I have never seen an athlete, and I'm not telling you guys a fighter, I am telling you an athlete who has ever weaponized pace quite like George St. Pierre. When you're fighting St. Pierre, you're now fighting George and his tag team partner, Pace. It's 2-on-1. Max Holloway is as close as I've seen to the greatest of all time in terms of his pace. That output is ridiculous. It's very hard to express, not to mention Max Holloway has changed his training. This is the second fight where Max has not sparred. That for the first fight was not a built-in mechanism. It was a byproduct of being in quarantine and him not being able to get to a public gym with public training partners. So he had to isolate himself in his garage with a heavy bag and a coach. But because he performed so well in Volkanovski fight, even though it wasn't the outcome, it was the performance, he decided, I'm going to do it again. I'm not going to spar. And there was sparring involved. And I can't remember what Max said, whether he sparred 3 times before the fight or whether he sparred once every 3 weeks. I can't remember what it was. The point is he's changed his training and he's getting a great result. And so many times in sports, we go harder and harder and harder, and that's the answer. If I'm not getting what I want, I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it harder. If I'm running 3 miles a day and I still feel out of shape, I'm going to go 5 miles a day. I'm going to go harder. I get that logically. I do that. I did all of that, but I have witnessed other guys who are getting a greater result by doing less. I had a teammate in college, Eric Webb, and he was the best wrestler on the team, at least results-wise. He beat the national champion, beat the number 2, beat the number 3, but the number 5, and beat the number 7. Beat them all and beat them handily. The guy that won the nationals, in fact, didn't score on my teammate Eric Webb. Webb had a built-in byproduct, which is he was getting concussions. He was getting headbutts and he was getting concussions, so he couldn't train. We go to practice, and he would watch you practice. Then when it was time to go wrestle, not only was he beating these guys, he was getting them tired and making them quit. And the rest of the guys on the team looking around going, this doesn't make sense. He's not training. How is he? I could get where he could just beat a guy. That happens all the time in sport. I'm talking about he's in better shape and breaking guy. He's not training. How's this happening? This is 20 years ago. I don't have the answer for you right now. I don't know how Eric did it. I don't know. But I have seen it a couple of times. And in some ways, we're seeing it from Max, who was openly not able to go into his gym, who was openly not sparring because he doesn't have an apparatus to spar in. His garage doesn't have a ring. His garage doesn't have a cage, let alone the partners. He doesn't even have the apparatus. But he's getting these results and he's having these performances like he's never had before. I would put what Max Holloway did tonight as Max's best performance. And I'm saying that about a guy who's beaten Jose Aldo. I'm saying that about a guy who's beaten Brian Ortega. I'm saying that about a guy who's won world championships. I've never seen him perform like this. That output is so nasty, and there's a level of conditioning, contrary to popular belief, that you cannot exceed. You as a human being have a ceiling, regardless of what Get Well and Attaboy books you've ordered on Amazon. There is a ceiling where you simply can't get any better shape. And that's just where Max is. I think that Kattar was there as well. I think Ortega was there and Aldo was there. It's just Max's VO2 max is higher than another human being's. He has mutant lungs. I truly believe if you were to go in and do an x-ray of Max's lungs, it's larger than the average human being's. They would say that about Lance Armstrong, that he actually had an organ, his lung, that was larger than the average man's. But there's something about Max, there's nothing you can do. He is going to come at you top to bottom. He's a great fighter, but he also has a pace. He also has a rhythm. I spoke to Dustin Poirier about 10 minutes after Dustin got out of the ring with Max. I was covering with ESPN. Dustin came up to be interviewed. Dustin made a comment. I've been in the fight game for a long time. Before I was an active fight, I was a fan. Used to watch the fights with my dad back in the Sugar Ray Leonard days. Dustin said that Max is a rhythm fighter. I knew that early, so all I had to do was disrupt his rhythm. I had the foggiest idea what Dustin had just said to me. I never heard that in my whole life. I played along because I was on TV and I nodded. I went back, I called Clayton Hires. I said, well, hey man, listen to what Poirier just said to me and tell me what he's saying to me. So Clayton then explained it to me, and he's saying Max gets in a rhythm. It's like a song. Bop, 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 bop. He gets in a rhythm, and if you can throw that rhythm off, you can stop him on step 1. He can't get to step 2. The way his brain works, it's all rinse and repeat. If you can stop step 1, he can't get to step 2. He's going to reset his body back to step 1. Now, Poirier made it sound like it was easy, and in all fairness, Poirier made it look easy, but there's other very good fighters that had higher IQs than me, and in all fairness, I know what I'm talking about in the fight game, but I didn't know that. And Poirier, who said, this is what I did and this is how I did it, and you can go watch the video. He did it for 25 straight minutes. I've never seen anybody come out and duplicate it. And even as I say that to you now, they're just words. How do you throw a guy's rhythm off when the guy is putting an output of 300 strikes per fight? The average fight, to put in perspective for you, is 174 strikes. It is just shy of double the output. I bring that to you because I do believe this was Max's best performance. I think that fight could have been stopped. I don't choose to die on that hill, and that isn't any part of my argument. I have a different opinion of when a fight should be stopped than what the unified rules claim. Unified rules claim that essentially when a fighter can no longer protect himself, can no longer intelligently defend himself, to use the exact verbiage, that is when a fight is eligible for stoppage. I, Chael Sonnen, personally believe you should get the athlete out of there as soon as you recognize he can no longer win the fight. When hope is gone, get him to the back and save the damage. My own opinion, I think we could have done that a little earlier with Kattar. But as you're hearing me dote on Max Holloway, and you're hearing about what a wonderful thing this was for our entire industry, make sure you do not mishear me. Kattar represented himself tonight. He represented his gym, he represented his family, he represented his honor. And he did it all with dignity. He was simply out there with a better fighter.